Rinos Mautsa in 2021, is he the man you thought you would be 10 years back?
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, the moment you are satisfied with the status quo, that's the beginning of your downfall. But I'm not saying you shouldn't be grateful. You have to be grateful about life and what the Lord has done for you. But when I started this journey, the entrepreneurial journey, growing up, especially in 12 years ago or 13 years ago when I was at college, I saw myself by this time being a global player with over 500 million. That's what I thought. Yeah, I was so ambitious. And this is also the point that I always raise when I meet other young people, to say never lose your enthusiasm. I'm so grateful that I never lost the enthusiasm, despite the fact that I'm not where I wanted to be. Why? Because when we start business, we are like kids. We yearn for big things, we dream big things, we talk about big figures, some billion-dollar businesses. But along the journey, some mysterious forces usually will come, and it's so easy for you to start thinking that you won't make it, you won't amount to anything. But that's why I'm saying I'm so grateful that even up to now, despite being way behind, I'm grateful about life, and I know I'm getting there, and it's just a process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're being behind the timelines. If we're honest, is it an opportunity in itself to catapult you way ahead of your schedule?
Absolutely, it is a great opportunity for me. Why? Because the challenge that I've seen also with other young entrepreneurs and those who have made it before, who don't have anything, I think maybe you can also attest to that. That growing up in our rural areas, there was that entrepreneur who had some thriving, retail business, those small shops, the retail shops and stuff. But they are no longer there. Why? Because it's a number of factors that affect that. So being delayed sometimes, it's not being denied. But it's an opportunity for you to put the systems in place, to put the processes in place, to put the procedures in place. But there are many things that we didn't know. So if you had grown to the level that I wanted, maybe when I started, myself, I wasn't prepared psychologically also for that growth. Because I was too immature for me to contain that growth. So that growth will become a curse. So when you grow way ahead of your time and your purpose, that growth will be a curse. It will destroy you. And so for me, it gave me time to learn. I made some mistakes, and I still recover from those mistakes. Yeah, because I was learning to put the systems, the processes in place. And right now, if that growth is to come right now, I'm better equipped to contain the growth. I won't go and buy a Lamborghini just to show the world that I've made it. I invest that money into charity. I'll invest that money into the work of the Lord. I invest that money into other people, so I'm now mature to contain any growth that will come at this time.
All right, phenomenal.
Yeah.
So let's go back to where it began, 2008, as a second-year student at MSU. The macroeconomic outlook of the country wasn't palatable for business to thrive, but how did you do it?
Well, I'm so fortunate that, why I'm saying fortunate, because it's unfortunate to grow in a family where you don't have a father figure or a father in the family. I lost my dad at a very young age, but I'm saying I was so fortunate because I had a mother who had hunger to see children being successful. And for her, she always said, all of you, she didn't have a first degree, but she didn't have a master's degree, but she always say, you know what, you should have degrees, all of you. And thank God the three of us we all have degrees. All my mother's child, we have degrees, we have masters, all of us.
All right.
Because that's what she wanted. And she used to go work in the fields, as a peasant farmer, and do part-time jobs for these NGOs that were working in the rural areas. And for that money was enough to sustain us. And she used to sell a lot of things. So that really shaped the foundation, or my entrepreneurial foundation. So I was born out of adversity, and that really shaped me. And fast forward, when I went to college, I set up a move business, I was showing some movies using the funds that I accumulated from when I did temporal teaching. Yeah, so that money, I bought a projector, a home theater, and I started showing some movies at college. And later on, I bought a car, and I was still a student.
Okay, what kind of a car was it?
It was an Opel Astra. So I buy those fast, you are still young and stuff. And so for me, doing that and having a mother who is so coming from a disadvantaged background, it was phenomenal, So, and it didn't end there. I started buying some cordial drinks from Dairy Board, exporting to Zambia as a student. So that really, my background shaped me to be where I wanted to be. And later on, fast forward, I launched my first formal company. That was in 2010. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you still drive an Opel, or you are now in the Cadillacs and the likes?
No, I'm very modest. I drive modest cars that are suitable for executives, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, that any executive in any other company they use. Those are the type of cars I go for. They appeal to the corporates. Executive, you are going for meetings. It's very important to look the part.
Yeah, sure.
And at the same time, you don't want to buy a 500,000 car. I don't believe in that. Yes, I'm not saying those who do that is wrong, but personally I don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2008, was it your cross point? That moment it dawned on you that you had that entrepreneurial seed within you?
Yes, it was actually before 2008 when I started showing some movies.
Oh.
But it was then that I realized that, no, you know what, I was born to do this. I always say to people, when you are privileged or fortunate enough to identify your purpose, you will go far. Because the moment you are working in line with your purpose, you won't put effort. Things will just fall into places. So if your purpose is to be a footballer, you find that divine helpers will come. There are people who just come and say, you know what, I know this person will, and that person maybe will introduce you to someone who know the other person maybe in the States or anywhere in the world. And that automatically end up working, maybe playing in the EPL. Similarly for me, when I started, a lot of other events started to fall into place. That's when I realized that I'm in line with my purpose.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So while we're still on the subject of entrepreneurship, do you believe that everybody who is making money is an entrepreneur?
No, not at all. I do believe some people, they become business people by default. So not everyone who is in business is an entrepreneur. So, and we have people, for example, maybe you are a politician, and by default, because you are a politician, within your line ministry, you become a minister. Within your line ministry, there's an opportunity to supply COVID materials or equipment.
Yeah.
Then you see that opportunity, and you've never been a business person before, you've never been an entrepreneur in your lifetime. You're a politician, that's your calling. And because of that opportunity that have arisen, within your ministry, you tell your cousin, uncle, just register a shelf company and come and supply the equipment, and maybe you make 10 million US dollars, but it doesn't make you an entrepreneur. And that's the challenge you are having these days. We are having people who are not entrepreneurs, and they are opportunists, and some are entrepreneurs. So they get an opportunity, they seize the opportunity at the moment, which is okay. Then the money, because they didn't go through the process. So when they are spending the money, they spend the money without remorse. I'm not saying if you work and accumulate some wealth, you should spend your money with remorse. But they don't have the foresight. So they go and buy these expensive cars worth 600,000 US dollars. They will go and splash on social media, calling themselves that, bingers of this world. And these are the same people who will say, no, education doesn't matter. Look where we are, I'm not even educated. Why? Because they didn't go through the process. So spending that money, it won't even, they won't even feel the pain of just, splashing money. They don't even feel that you also have an obligation as a business person to spend that money in your community to assist that poor person in the rural areas, to create more opportunities for other people. It's always important to create people of your own kind. So if you are a footballer, it's important for you to also create other footballers.
Okay,
if you're an artist, you have to replicate yourself.
Right.
So that's how we become a better nation or a better continent. But those people, they will never think about that. All they think about is spending, showcasing their worth, so that people will think that you have arrived. But if you have to check those people, maybe in 10 years, they wouldn't be there anymore. But those who are entrepreneurs, they go through some processes, and that processes will shape you, so that even if you are to have 100 million, you won't go and splash that money, but you'll be compelled to uplift your communities. You'll be compelled to also mentor other young people, so that they become better than you are. So that's the entrepreneurs that I know. And if you're an entrepreneur, again, a true entrepreneur, if you are to be, for example, if you are to take me, I always tell people right now, and say, Rinos, we are taking you from Zim. We are sending you to Ghana right now today.
Yes.
With nothing, with only the air ticket money and accommodation for the next 3 months.
You mean even Djibouti or Kandahar?
Yeah, or in Djibouti.
Yeah.
If you take me there and you say you are going with nothing, only your clothes supply for 6 months, your money for food supply for 6 months, and you go and stay there with nothing else, no qualification.
Yes.
If you check me after 1 year, I'll be way better than an average young person in my age here in Zim.
Okay.
Why? Because it's entrepreneurial and success is a mindset. So if you are to give money to someone with the wrong mindset right now, $1 million, that money will destroy that young person. But they will go and spend that money in the wrong things. But if you are to give $1 million to someone with or even $10,000 to someone with the entrepreneurial mindset, that person will change the community. It will create more of its kind. It takes me to the Bible, where Jesus talked about the parable of the talents. The other was given 5, the other 2, and the other 1. And the one that had more created more. But there's one person who was given 1. It doesn't mean it was only 1, but they buried the talent on the ground. So we have such people. So if you give such person $1 million, that money will be destroyed, and after one year there will be no money. But that people will destroy other people around them, and they will also self-destruct.
Okay.
Yeah.
You made a bold proclamation that in 5 to 10 years to come, the current crop of young entrepreneurs would have taken over Africa and the world with their businesses. What gives you the guts to say that? What is it that you see that everybody else isn't seeing?
Well, so if you are to, I'll take you back.
Yes.
If you are to check it was in the 90s in Zim, we had entrepreneurs who, the likes of the Tawengwas, who had the Mshandra Pamwe Hotel, we had the like of the bus operators who owned buses in the 90s. Then after that dispensation, we also had in the late 90s and early 2000s, then we had so in the 80s, that's when we had the Mshandira Pamwezi, the bus operators, until in the 90s.
Yes.
Then the late 90s, mid to late 90s, until early 2000, we had other crop of entrepreneurs who were born during that era. The likes of Philip Shiangwas, Mataranyika, Mr. Mataranyika of Nyaradzo, Strive Masiwa, Shingi Mtasa, and a couple of Nigel Shanakir, and a couple of other successful people that I look up to.
Yes.
And if you have to check those people, they were so driven and they were knitted together. They used to work together. And that's where we had also many banks being born, the telecoms companies being born. So they worked together, and there was unity of purpose because they wanted to be successful.
Yes.
But they were disadvantaged because they didn't have a reference point.
All right.
So whenever in life, even in your family, it's so difficult to become the first generation entrepreneur in your family. But the second person to be an entrepreneur, it will be easier. Why? Because you have a reference.
All right.
You have a reference. Even in your prayers, if you have a reference, it's easier. That's why I'm so inspired. If one of my friends maybe buys one of the beautiful piece of land or is building a beautiful house, I have a reference in my prayer. I won't be jealous. I'll say, God, if you can do it to a fellow black person who is just like me, who was fashioned and formed from adversity just like me, so why me? Why can't I also do it? Because you have a reference. So that crop didn't have much reference. They were the first generation proper entrepreneurs in this country. And they did some remarkable stuff. Some of them, they started banks in their 20s, in their 30s. They were opening banks, which is remarkable. And after that generation, I think we were a bit quiet, especially in terms of entrepreneurship. Don't they have other big companies that were born in between? Those who are in their late 40s especially, I'm not saying they didn't do, but some of them, they are doing some amazing stuff, but they didn't scale to go global or to disrupt across Africa. But right now, if you are to check right now, we are very much advantaged. We have some leverage. We have social media to our advantage. So if the January Summit can't cover my company, I'll just go and use my platform and tell the world my story. I can market my business through my platform. I don't need to pay some huge advertising budgets for me to market myself. So we have social media to our aid, and we also have reference from those who have made it before. We have mentorship. So for me, I don't have to book an appointment. With Dr. Masiwa, the founder of Econet. I don't have to book an appointment. I'll just go to his Facebook page every day and get inspired. So whatever that I'm going through as an entrepreneur right now in my entrepreneurial journey, someone else has gone through the same journey. So if I'm facing a situation that I think is it's a mammoth task, and it's something that will threaten to take me maybe back, I'll go to that person on social media, read his post, and it will change the whole thing. If I want to raise capital, I'll just go to the page of someone whom I know that has raised capital before and check how have they done it. So it's now easier with the advent of social media. That's the second point. And the other third point, if you have to check our businesses right now, the current generation, those who are between 30 and 40, and the others who are in their 20s as well, who are doing some amazing stuff. I actually have, maybe off the head, I also have maybe plus 9 people. The businesses that I know, these ones, if you have to check in 5 years, they'll become multi-million-dollar business. Some are in energy. And if you have to check their business models, they put systems. Because I don't check the money that you are making right now. I check on systems that you have put in place. I check on scalability to say, is your business scalable? Can you scale your business to Zambia? Can you reach, to South Africa and do the same things you are doing? Can you tap into the bigger population in Nigeria and DRC? So those are the things that I have been checking when I posted that, made that comment, to say, I'm so convinced that in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to see $1 billion company other than Econet coming from Zimbabwe. We are going to see the current generation having business that are worth more than $200,000, $200 million, right from Zim. And these young people, they have already established in Botswana, in Zambia, they are established in Malawi. And these are the people I have met in person, and I've seen them implementing some processes. And similarly, I believe I'm also part of those people, because we've put the systems, over these past 10 years, we've been putting systems, structures, we've been putting some processes that are so robust to anchor and sustain the growth that is going to come. And if we are to grow and have a lot of money right now, it's so easy for us to replicate the same business model in Zambia, because we've done it so well right now from when we started.
Who is your foremost mentor?
Well, you can't say this one person is my mentor personally for me. Most people, they have different expertise and they have different also calling and purposes as well in their lives. So every day I follow the post for Strike Masiwa, because every day is talking about business. So you can post about how to pitch to investors, how to raise capital. So for me, I read more about him as well. And I also have other international players. Some I've never met them. So the challenge that also we make as young people, I've also seen it a lot. They always come in my inbox, can you be my mentor? But sometimes you don't have to meet me in person. You just have to follow what I'm posting. So, and not everyone is meant to be your mentor. Because sometimes you inherit some or incorporate some wrong behavior in that process. Yeah. So if you are mentored by someone, people, they also carry with themselves, I believe in that, some wrong spirits, some of the people. So sometimes you end up maybe inheriting certain cues and stuff. If you are too attached to Rinos, so you need to do a lot of sausage before you engage a person as a mentor. So for me, I have a lot of people who have shaped me to be where I am. Some I've met in person. I can talk about my pastor, Apostle Jawa. He mentored me spiritually, and he's one person I always, when I'm faced, some huge, some challenges, I always say, no, you know what, this is what I'm facing, and we pray together. I have the likes of Philip Mataranyika, the likes of Herbert Nkala. When I started, he was there, the chairman of a bank. I approached him and said, you know what, this is what I'm doing. And I was just a young boy. But for him, he didn't see a young boy. He saw a vision. Right? And the likes of Lance Mabodian, he's good at financial modeling, structuring deals. I look at him and say, you know what, this is what I'm about to do. What do you think? And because he's an expert in that area, you give me a proper judgment based on the facts. Okay. So for me, I'm an entrepreneur. I use emotions. Yeah. So if I want to grow and say I want to invest in Zambia, it's based on emotions because I want to grow. But for him now, he's detached from my business. So he's using facts. So my emotions plus his facts, if I'm to sync them together, it will become something that is formidable and solid. Right. So I always look at a number of people before I make a major decision. Okay. Yeah.
In your journey, have you had an opportunity to meet with great leaders, presidents, prime ministers?
Yes, the Bible says your gift will make room for you, and the other version say will put you before kings and people of not right. I've met presidents, and I was fortunate enough to meet the president of India. I met the prime minister of India. I met the president of Zimbabwe, the former president of Zimbabwe, President Mugabe, and I met not once, twice. I also, some point, I met the current president of Zimbabwe, not once again, I think 3 times. Right. Of course, they won't remember, but I was also privileged to have a contact moment with them. Yeah. So for me, it was quite fulfilling because it was now what I've invested over the years that was putting me before them. Not because I wanted some favor, but your gift naturally will take you before people who are very noble. And I do believe I'm here to meet, a number of other great leaders as I continue into this journey.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your network?
Well, I can't say because, it's so difficult. I do a number of things. Right. I have a company, I have Picco Construction, and we are running projects worth some millions of US dollars. Those are the projects and some projects we are funding by our own. Our economy in Zim is not very in its best right now. And over the years, not only right now, but over the past decade. So since I started my business, we have been facing some huge challenges in Zimbabwe. But we have been funding our growth on our own, using our own capital, right? And we have made some millions from only the construction side. And I have the Chartered Institute of Customer Management. And through Chartered Institute of Customer Management, we have over 30 channel partners in 30 countries. That's huge. Okay. We offer diplomas in customer service and certificates and stuff. And I own 80% of that institute. The head offices are in South Africa, and we are in other countries. And actually have a full-time CEO who is based in South Africa. And we also have a fully constituted board that is running that. So that is doing well on this one. We are also into energy through Energy Plus International. I have a partner in a full-time CEO who is my partner as well, and is running that. And he was so fortunate and privileged. He was actually on the cover page for Forbes, my partner. So he's running that company as well, full-time, and I own almost almost 50% of that company. Okay. And I have other company. I have a Tech24 group. It's a tech company. We develop software solutions. We almost 90% of the insurance companies in Zimbabwe, they're using our solutions. And of the big insurance companies, we have bankers who are using, banks which are using our solutions. So it's doing so well. We are talking about solutions that are worth, some of them worth over $1 million US. And we have almost over 50% of the market share. So you can do your math. So we are doing a lot of other things, and soon we'll be launching a theme park. We don't have any theme park in Zimbabwe, but this is our project that we are working on, and in the next 2 years we'll have launched our own theme park. So I can't put a mark or a figure on it, because I'm not where I think I should have been to it, but I think we've done so well. We are so grateful for what the Lord has done for us.
But we can safely conclude that you are a multi-millionaire.
You are saying that. You are saying that. I can't say we are not where we want to be, but I think we have done so well.
All right.
Yeah.
I've heard some people saying your net worth is tantamount to your network.
Yeah.
What's your take on the efficacy of having the right network or ecosystem?
No, ecosystem is a very important aspect when it comes to entrepreneurship. Because if you are to check all the great leaders or those who have made it so well, yes, we can complain and say, no, they've created an elite group, but you know what? It just happened naturally. So for us, you don't have to wait to be invited on the table. You create your own table if you're not invited. Or you take your chair and you join the table. If it means once you're at the table, you are cleaning the dishes, it's okay. Clean the dishes until you also have a voice at that table. So as an entrepreneur, my message to most of the young entrepreneurs who are just like me or those who are still starting, I always say, just be associated with the right people, people who will help you to go to the next stage. For me, my first contract, I remember, was, I think, 24, 25. Yeah, my first contract, my big contract, it was around 80-something thousand US. And I was deploying a solution at Kingdom Bank. That was owned by Nigel Chanakira then. That was my first, and just imagine my age. Most of my people of my age, they were thinking about looking for a job and stuff. And I got that contract. And my profits were over 60% my margins. So I made a huge killing for that contract. So, but someone referred me to secure that contract. Right. And so I believe if you create an ecosystem, it's more than benefiting from contracts. But that ecosystem is if it is sustainable, it feeds into each other. So if I'm in construction, maybe you are supplying some aggregates.
Yes.
So it's so easy for me to just pass on the deal to you. We have to learn from the Indians, the Jews, how they have created their own ecosystem. They support each other.
Yes.
But instead of competing, we can complement each other. And instead of feeling jealousy, like what I said earlier on, if you are blessed, it means the blessing is within the vicinity.
Yes.
So it's so possible for it to come to my house as well.
Yes.
If it can happen to you, I have a reference point.
Sure.
So if you create an ecosystem, it will help you to really go far. And if you work with the right network and the right people around you, you can also motivate each other, because running a business is not easy. It's not every day that is so rosy and stuff. When people are looking at me, maybe they envy, they admire me, they say, I want to be like you. I say, no, don't be like me. I aspire to be better than me.
Okay.
But there's a lot of challenges. You know, being the best, being the best preacher, it's not easy. You face a lot of challenges. Being the best footballer, it's not easy. You invest a lot of, you need to invest your emotions, you invest your time, you invest your sleep. You know, you sacrifice a lot of things for you to become the best in anything that you are doing in life.
Sure.
So if you want to so sometimes there are days where you are so low, maybe the taxman is after you, maybe the best employee that you like so much has done something, on you, and it weighs down on you.
Or resigned.
Has resigned.
Yeah.
Or maybe you need maybe they said, no, what you're offering me is not enough. But you know that the best you are giving that person, and you want that person to stay. So it becomes emotionally draining. Maybe you are facing some challenges at home. So emotionally it's so draining, so it's so easy for you to give up. Or you'll be so stressed that you won't think straight. So when you are faced with such challenges, and if you have the right ecosystem, if you have the right people around you, it will be so easy for you to go against the tide and still make it. Because you have someone who have gone through the same journey and you tell, you know what, Rinos, you can make it. You know, when I was going through a similar situation, this is how I've done it. You know, faced with that, I think you become a better person and you become a better business leader. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the greatest risk you took in your entrepreneurial journey?
He'll keep pushing for something until it is done, no matter how difficult it is. So normally I could say the way he attacks or maybe approaches his work, he'll start with the most difficult things and end with the easiest things. I think it's just an easier methodology for him to invest more time and resources in the things that are more difficult to do and end with the things that are least difficult to do. So for him, nothing is impossible. As long as you keep pushing, you keep driving, you keep working at it. He always believes that there's no situation, there's no goal that cannot be attained.
Well, I've taken, you know, I've taken a lot of risks. I mean, when I was starting, and even up to now, because entrepreneurship, we are paid for making risk anyway. So every day we make a lot of other risks. You know, just being an entrepreneur is a risk in itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So every day I take a lot of risks. So I have no specific to say this is the greatest. But every day in my journey, I always take risk, and some of them, of course, I consult so that we minimize the risk. But the moment you are so calculative, and thank God I've got very competent team members that I work with. If you have to check my head of finance, sometimes she will come so strong and say, you know what, say this, we are not going to do this.
Okay.
Because I've created that ecosystem, that environment for them to also share their views without feeling maybe, or a fear of the backlash. I told them that when I'm hiring you, if you leave me making a mistake, then tomorrow you come and say, no, I knew it. Then you are not the right person for the company. You have to leave. I want someone who will tell me to say, you know what, say, yes, you are insisting that we do this, but you want, my opinion is contrary to what you are doing. So that if I fail tomorrow, they'll say, I know, say, you remember that conversation, we once talked about this.
Yeah.
So all my team members, they are so open-minded and they will come to my office straight. You know what, say, yes, we are doing this, but I think this is not in the best interest of the company. This, tomorrow, we have this implication. So that way you mitigate your risk. But of course, being an entrepreneur, you have that 60 cents. That instinct will say, you know what, yes, I know there's this risk, but my gut is telling me that we should go for it. And you find that half the times I was right, but there are times that I was wrong. And the backlash, sometimes we will find some other avenues to really manage and mitigate maybe, you know, the damage that would have been caused.
Okay. Right. So you have made 5 companies of yours public.
Yeah.
Of those companies, which one is futuristic for you, as in the one you think it will fly above the rest?
So from 5 years from now, all of them, I think they are doing so right now. But 5 years from now, my construction company, Picco Construction,
Picco, yes.
is I know for sure that will be the largest construction company in Zimbabwe, and doing some projects across Africa.
As Picco Construction, our main goal is to keep moving with the times in terms of modernization and infrastructure development. To help us achieve this goal, we have brought in state-of-the-art equipment and machinery, which we use in our project and also hire out. We want to change the face of infrastructure development in the country, work hand in hand with the authorities in complementing government efforts in modernizing the country. We are the pace setters in construction industry, and our passion is to create reality.
You know, the infrastructure deficit in Africa, the gap is so huge. And for us, we've positioned ourselves to fill in the gap for infrastructure, you know, development in Africa, not only in Zimbabwe. So I think we have a huge task ahead of us, and that's a gap that we are so deliberate to say, you know what, we are going to change the story of Africa through developing infrastructure in Africa, not only in Zimbabwe. So we are going to play a huge role in that regard. And in the process, because we are addressing a real and genuine problem in Africa, in the process, automatically we are going to accrue a lot of money out of it. Yeah. And in energy also, there's a energy poverty in Africa, a huge gap. And I'm so happy there are a number of other young people that I've met who are running some projects worth over 20 million to generate, energy and feed into the grid. But for us, we are also going to play a pivotal role through our company, Energy Plus. And I think that company is going to do so well again. And we have a huge role to play across Africa on that regard. And in tech, you never go wrong with tech.
The thing with Tech24 is that it's an organization that looks to create a fintech ecosystem. Now, this ecosystem or fintech ecosystem looks to develop solutions not just for today, but also for tomorrow.
So continue to evolve as well. It's going to do so well. So those three companies, they are going to do so well. For our education is always there for the Chartered Institute of Customer Management.
CICM is a globally recognized organization which is currently present within 14 countries in Africa. Apart from being present in 14 countries in Africa, we have managed to establish partnerships with various organizations in 3 continents, namely Asia, Europe, and Africa.
But for me, I'm not the best person to manage. Yes, I started that because I'm an entrepreneur. But at some point when we have reached the growth that we want, I think that company will leave it to the people who are good at managing that organization. Yeah.
You mentioned in one of your posts that when you engaged your wife, your girlfriend then, all that you had was a vision and a solid plan. Was she seeing the same thing that you were seeing?
Well, I wouldn't say so. Of course, I think maybe she thought I was organized. Remember, I met her when I was, from my post, if you read that post.
You were young, Bingaudo.
Yeah, I know, I was still young. We were on attachment at a dairy board then. And I saw her, and when I saw her, of course, I thought, she was good looking. Okay. She was okay. And the fact that she is an accountant, she was also an attachment. So I asked her out. Day 3, she said yes. We engaged 7 months down the lane. And remember, I wasn't that, yes, I was still, my background wasn't all that good. Yeah. Because I'm coming from a disadvantaged background, being raised by a single mother, like what I mentioned, and no property of our own in the urban, setting.
Yes.
So the background it was against me. But she said yes anyway. Why? Because she saw the potential in me. Because despite my age, I was already making money of my own, so that I could pay for part of my fees and send part of the other monies to my mother and buy also clothes for myself, showing movies for myself. I was already doing that.
Yes.
So she saw the potential in me, of course, yeah. And what I like most, she also understood that for business to thrive, I told her that for me to thrive, I need space for me to unleash my full potential. And I'm so happy. I think my team members can attest to that. She's hardly here at the company. She don't visit our companies, our offices. If she's coming, she's just coming on a personal visit to see me, and she'll just go on a day-to-day business. And this is someone who is also accomplished, someone who is doing a PhD, someone who is done a number of other qualifications, master's degree qualifications. So, but she leaves me to do business without much disturbance. You say, who are you with? Who are you talking to? And there's also mutual trust among us. Yeah.
All right. So does that feed into one of your posts also, where you say the rich or poor, successful, unsuccessful? Only common thing that we have is family.
Yes, I mean, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are successful or not, what is more common to all of us is family. So at least if you have family that appreciates you, family that believes in you, I think that's what matters. Everything else doesn't matter. Because if, yes, I have people, but so what? Yes, you might have some millions, so what? You might be a billionaire, so what? Because at the end of the day, when you go back, when you are asleep, you have family. So if you have family that cherish you, that appreciates you, that's what matters. And if you are talking about family, it doesn't only end at the kids that you have, or your wife, or your siblings, but this also cascades to people who were friends at some point. They become family as well. So family is not just by blood, but it's also the people around you who believe in your vision, who support your vision, who are there for you, whether things are good or whether things are bad. They become family as well. So we need family around us. Without that, we are nothing.
Sure.
Yeah.
The responsibility that God has given you to be a parent, how has it been?
No, it's quite fulfilling, and I'm so happy. You know what? I'm so happy because many times, if you have to check, I can't say it's a mistake because I'm not perfect either.
Okay.
But when you are coming from a disadvantaged background, which is a story of many successful people and entrepreneurs in Africa, you have to check most of them or half of them, they are coming from a disadvantaged background. Everything will be against them when they started, and they are where they are. So once you have your kids, you have a overcompensatory behavior. Yeah, you want them to have everything, and it's so painful that those kids, when they are grown up, some of them don't amount to anything. Yeah, they'll be having a rich parents, but what is so devastating and disappointing is that most of them don't amount to anything. It's because of us, the parents, we are overcompensatory behavior, and because we grew up in lack and we want our kids to have everything, and we don't teach our kids to be the best in whatever the calling that I have. That's the challenge. But our colleagues, the white guys, they don't do that. You see, the dad is into farming. The kids, by the time they'll be in O level, they will know everything about farming. But maybe I'm in construction, I'll reach, my child will be in O level or advanced level. They don't know anything about construction. So that's the challenge. They don't know anything about entrepreneurship or running a business, or maybe financial management, the basic principles of financial management. They don't know anything. So it becomes now a huge tragedy, because that's why most of our business are not scaling. It will end with me.
Sure.
Once I'm gone, that's the end of business. And this is the story for many Africans. So for me, I'm so deliberate about that.
All right.
My younger child he is passionate into construction. His laptop is just 6, but his laptop, I downloaded some building simulations. So he's doing the building simulations. Of course, I'm not saying he shouldn't do the kids stuff, but there are also the building simulations, everything related to construction, because I realized that he has passion for that. And I got 2 boys. The other one is into tech. He loves tech so much, and already at 10, he's doing coding and stuff, because this is what he loves. So I'm preparing for the future. But if they fail at some point, it's on them, it's not on me. As a parent, I would have played my role. Yeah.
So if one of your boys were to write a book about you in the future, what legacy would it entail, not only for him, but for the rest of the world?
Well, so I think the story is about someone who made it when everything was
Pitted
against him. So for them, that's what they say. Because when we go to the rural areas, they say, no, I grew up in this. This is where we grew up with. Of course, it's now a different setup, because we have managed to invest so well, so that
when you go big,
the house is so comfortable. It's better than most of the, or 50% of the places, maybe in the urban dwellings, because all the amenities are there. So for them, but we say, no, when we grew up, all these things were not there. We used to walk this distance to go to school or to do certain things and stuff. And I only started boarding a plane when I became an entrepreneur. So when I was telling them, for them, it's unbelievable. So for them, when they look at me, they say, wow, so you have done all this. Yes, they're still kids, but they also appreciate that against all odds, you are where you are. And I always remind them that is by the grace of the Lord. It's not because I'm very smart, but there are many smart people out there who are supposed to be in my position, or even better, but they are not here. So by being here, it's just by the grace of the Lord.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we don't need to wait for 10 years or 20 to read the book.
Yeah.
We already see some footprints in what you are doing already.
Yeah.
And you are a multiple award-winning entrepreneur already, which attests to that. Would you kindly speak to why you think you've been awarded so many awards?
I'm sure that those who have given me those awards, they are some things that they saw in me, and maybe some, when you're in a situation, well, sometimes you always feel that it's not good enough. It's not good enough. A principle that I'm also still learning to say, you should learn to also appreciate yourself. Because many times we become so hard on ourselves to say, I haven't done enough. I need to do more. I need to do more. But those who are watching from a distance, usually they are the ones who really see what is going on. So they are also appreciating our efforts in our small way to say, I think at your age you have done so well. For example, I received my first award when I was, I think I was in my mid-20s, and it was from JCI, if I'm not mistaken, and Junior Chamber International. I received from Zimbabwe Institute of Management the Young Leader of the Year. I received several awards in the process after that. They were seeing something. And what I've learned also, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to live in a cocoon. You need to open up. You need to join these networking groups like JCI, like Global Shapers for World Economic Forum. If you join those platforms, they open doors for you. Because it's so easy for someone to meet you and say, wow, this is what you're doing. I want to know more. And in the process, they will appreciate your business model. And they can even say, this young man is going places, So it's very important to join those networks. And I was so fortunate to understand and appreciate that. And I joined those platforms when I was in my, early stages of entrepreneurship. And because of that, I ended up winning big awards like I got the Desmond Tutu Fellowship Award. It's big. They only select less than 20 people across Africa.
Wow.
And you'll be taken to meet some leaders, the great leaders in the continent like Strive Masiwa, meet great leaders like Desmond Tutu, and other renowned great leaders across Africa. They will come and will teach you about the ethos of being a leader. It's not about money anyway. Because anyone, even a fool, can have money.
Sure.
But ultimately, a fool and his money, they all perish. But what you leave is a legacy. And you can leave a legacy when you have mastered certain principles, leadership principles, that will improve our communities. And that fellowship is all about that. Building the Ubuntu and, teaching us the ethos of leadership that will transform our continent. And I was so fortunate to be part of it. And not only that, I was also fortunate to get, the Trans-Montana leader of tomorrow, which is the award was also identify young people across Africa who have potential and businesses that can be scalable or who are making impact in their communities. Because we have a number of CSR approaches that we are doing. Because when we make money, it's not about you. You have a responsibility for your employees first and for your community. So if I become, what help will it be if I become a billionaire, but my average employee doesn't own a house? It means I failed as a leader. So I always tell my employees when they join to say, especially for Picco Construction, every employee that is coming, I tell them that your situation 2 years after today, if your lifestyle, if it doesn't improve, you have to quit. I failed you as a leader. I want to be the best, most paying, not only paying, but want to look after the welfare of our employees so that it will be so difficult for them to leave the company. So in welfare, we are not just telling it's not about money. We are looking at their also housing needs. We want also to check on the medical cover. Those are the things that we also look at. And we want to also the emotional aspect of it. Was we respect each other. If there's a message that I always repeat, even to my senior managers, to say, make sure that your subordinates, they are happy. Do things that will make them want to come to work tomorrow. So it's very important. So, and to me, that's leadership. And I'm not saying I'm perfect with that, but this is what I always say, and I try to act that part as well. And if you are to, we also get the India Africa Young Visionary Award. So they are looking at the people with big vision. And I brought in the contact center, the call center concept in Zimbabwe. It wasn't there. And I launched that, and I was the first person to really, revolutionize that concept, and but to really publicize and promote and build that industry that was non-existent. And to date, because of the efforts we've made over the years, we have over 60 contact centers in Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe is now in the top 5 destination to watch globally. And thanks to the efforts that the vision that we had when we started the association, and that vision, of course, there are people who support it, but we birthed the vision, and the vision is still in place and is being acknowledged globally. So the Indian government also saw that, and they got that award.
Alright.
And not only that, and I had an opportunity to meet the Prime Minister there. And not only that, I also have a number of other, leadership awards from Institute of Directors. And for me, it's quite fulfilling if someone whom you don't know will say we appreciate you, what you are doing and stuff, keep up with the good work. It also inspires, so look, someone is watching, so let me put more effort.
Yes.
So this is all about the awards that I've got.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we round off, what message do you have for that young entrepreneur who might be in Dangambura or Mondoro, who doesn't have money right now, all he has is a vision? What you now know you did not know when you started out as an entrepreneur?
So all what I can say is, we always say, maybe as young people, our excuse is, I don't have capital for this, I don't have money, no one is supporting my idea. But I always say, it's not about capital. The greatest capital that you can have is your vision, your mind, and your faith in God. Because you need faith, because at some point things will falter, and you need that faith to keep going. So the greatest capital that you can have is your mind. Because with your mind, like what I said, if you are to send me right now with nothing to Ghana, Uganda, or anywhere, I will still thrive.
Yes.
6 months down the line, I think I'll be having a business that is thriving there. Why? Because the greatest asset that we have is not money, but it's our brains and our faith in God. That's the greatest capital. And it's not about your past. Your past doesn't matter. It's not about your background. Your background doesn't matter. It's not about your color,
Yes.
your skin color. It doesn't matter. But it's about your brains and your faith and your vision. Stay in your purpose. Once you identify your purpose, everything will just fall into place.
Alright.
Yeah.
Are you still showing movies and retailing body offerings?
Well, I wish if I could do that. It was so simple, but of course, I mean, there's a greater calling than that.
Right.
You start from somewhere. So for me, it was somewhere where I started from,
Yes.
and I'm now doing I think I'm now doing the things that I'm more passionate about, and I'm pursuing my greater calling, that is construction, energy, and technology.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rinos Mautsa, you are truly an emperor of success. It has been a pleasure having you.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
Sure.